Just when we think the race is over, it's not over. I'm still trying to process everything that happened in those final laps at Gateway. Let's process it together. Let's chat about it. Hey everyone, my name is Taylor Kitchen and welcome back to Above the Yellow Line, the show where we do motorsports media your way, talking about NASCAR literally all the time. And today we are talking about Gateway, the Enjoy Illinois 300. And I'm going to be honest with you, this race confused the crap out of me. The varying strategy had my head in a spin. Like I was trying to follow all these different teams with all varying strategies. A lot of this due to the early cautions we had in this race that allowed teams to really play with the strategy that they were dealing with today and try something different that they otherwise might not have. And though the strategy was muddled for me today, what was clear is that the top cars to beat were going to be the 12 of Ryan Blaney and the 20 of Christopher Bell. Coming to the end of the race, it was a back and forth battle between Blaney, who was trying to fend off lap traffic, and Christopher Bell, who was right on his heels trying to zoom through that lap traffic. All of a sudden, they were side by side battling for the lead. I had just images of my mind of this championship battle between them that I wish we would have gotten at the end of last season, where I thought that they were evenly matched. And then, of course, as we know, at Phoenix last year for the championship race, Christopher Bell blew a brake rotor, and I was like, okay, we're finally getting the battle we want. Then Christopher Bell says, guys, I'm blowing up. And we see his car start to fall back. With Christopher Bell having engine issues, it was Ryan Blaney's race to win until he looked in the rearview mirror and saw his teammate Austin Cindric slowly cutting down that lead time that Ryan Blaney had. Coming to the one to go, you were wondering, does Cindric have anything else for Ryan Blaney or is it too late? And at that point, the unthinkable happened. Ryan Blaney ran out of fuel, and Austin Cindric, who was in that perfect position to capitalize on a mistake that Ryan Blaney could have made, was able to get the lead and get the win, breaking an 84-race winless streak, his second victory of his NASCAR Cup Series career. Freaking unbelievable. Nobody expected this at all. So how did we even get to that point where Ryan Blaney ran out of fuel? Well, according to Larry Mack after the race, he analyzed this whole situation. With around 64 laps to go, Ryan Blaney made a pit stop, and instead of going with 2 cans of fuel, they went with 1 can, and Ryan Blaney was not made aware of his fuel situation. Austin Cindric, on the other hand, pitted a lap later and got about 2 cans of fuel, or at least had that second can of fuel inserted into the car, getting as much fuel as possible before he left pit road. Therefore, Cindric didn't really have to have a situation where he was worried about saving fuel, and he was just good to go, smooth sailing the rest of the way. So that pit stop with 64 and 63 laps to go made the entire difference of who won this race. What's crazy to me is that Cindric is the first driver for Team Penske to win in the Cup Series this season. Let that sink in. The driver who has had 1 top 10 prior to this race be the first to win for Team Penske. He had a great qualifying effort with a second position. So overall, we knew his car was strong. He was able to maintain like a top 10, a top 5 position the entire race, even a top 3. So there was no doubt, but it felt like this came out of nowhere for Austin Cindric, who before this had a 20th, and I believe a 37th place finish the past 4 weeks. So bizarre, out of nowhere, but a much needed win, knowing that Austin Cindric's future might be in jeopardy. He's a part of the silly season rumors saying he hasn't performed in the 2 car. Does somebody need to take his place? This could quiet those rumors of him maybe leaving that 2 seat. Maybe this is the way that he is securing that seat with this win. It is a statement win for him. And this has to be a really good morale boost to the shop too, because Joey Logano spoke to the media after the race and said, it's miserable being in our shop recently. He says, when you're constantly fighting for like a 20th place position, it's a kick in the you-know-what. It's defeating a little bit for a team that's known to win championships, a team that's known to rack up race wins, to be fighting for 20th, and that's kind of the best you can do, at least for Joey Logano's sake, and sometimes Austin Cindric's sake for the most part. That sucks. So to get this win is a big deal for that organization. And also keep in mind too, though they have rough starts to the seasons, they tend to always pick it back up, and they are undefeated in the Gen 7 car with championships. We have Joey Logano 2022, Ryan Blaney 2023, 2024. I don't know. Right now, the path is not totally clear for Penske to get another championship in the Cup Series, given their performance so far. But is this the path to get there? Does it start now? I don't know. Before we move on to the rest of the results, I did want to highlight more pit strategy for Team Penske. At the end of stage 2, all 3 Penske drivers decided to stay out on track, giving them track position to start stage 3 to hopefully maintain that for the rest of the race. And I think that ultimately gave them the edge above the competition. So another fantastic move by the crew chiefs to keep them all out on track, because as we know with Gateway, track position is king. Overall, this was a decent day for Ford. Obviously, Cindric in that first position. Second, we had Denny Hamlin. Third, Brad Keselowski. The past 3 weeks, it's been a first place, a second place, now a third place finish. I mean, look at that for Brad. Like, we love to see the success that he has found. His team is locked in at this point, and they're trying to pull off a great strategy run for this race. They were trying to stay out longer, have a longer pit run strategy, hoping for a caution near the end of the race in stage 3. And of course, when that caution didn't happen, they had to pit with 30 to go. But it ended up okay for them. Again, a third place finish. Fourth, we have Tyler Reddick. Fifth, Joey Logano. Sixth, it's Austin Dillon. This is his best finish of the season in his second top 10. Seventh, Christopher Bell. Eighth, Carson Hocevar. This is his best career finish in the Cup Series. And also with this finish, it brings him closer in contention for the Rookie of the Year battle with Josh Berry. He is now only 36 points behind him. And give a shout out to my boy Justin Haley with a 9th place finish. Again, constantly outperforming, I think, the equipment that he has. And in 10th, Kyle Larson. And yes, if you're going to ask me in the comments, as of right now when I'm recording this, we still do not have a decision as to whether NASCAR is going to give him a waiver for the Indy 500 or not. If you want to hear my opinion on that entire situation, I will link the video in the description below. You also probably will see it on the screen somewhere as well. There are 2 drivers I want to talk about that did not have the best finishes of this event. First off, Kyle Busch did not finish this race after an incident on track with Kyle Larson, which I think just started when Kyle Larson was trying to race Kyle Busch just really rough, I would say, tried to side draft off of him. They touched cars, and then Kyle Busch, maybe out of frustration, just kind of pinned him down the track. Larson got loose and just washed them both up. Kyle got into the wall, and it ended his day. A first DNF of the season for him, and just sucks after he won this race last year to see this result for him. It's not been a good year, and quite honestly, it could have been a really good race for them given the pit strategy worked in the favor of Austin Dillon and Kyle Busch when they got on the right side of it. So really sucks to see that result for the number 8 team. And then of course, the pole sitter for this race, Michael McDowell, did not finish this race well, and I think a lot of that had to do with poorly executed pit stops as well as just the strategy not playing into their favor. He finished 25th. So that is your top 10 and other notable finishing positions. Now it's time to rate this race above or below the yellow line. For me, this race was kind of mid, and I say mid in like the best way possible. It wasn't bad, but I didn't find myself like on the edge of my seat, but not every race can be like that. What saved the rating of this race for me though, quite honestly, was that in battle between Bell and Blaney. It was really good. The varying strategy, though it confused the crap out of me, it kept me very invested. I was trying to do just mental math as to who got 2 tires, who didn't, who's pitting here, why are they pitting 5 laps later, why does this make sense, why did they change their strategy? There was so much for me to get invested in with this race that made it really fun for me, quite honestly. Because of all of that, I'm going to give this race a 64%, which is definitely above the yellow line. I still think it's like that mid-tier type rating, but again, not totally bad, but just another classy, I guess, Gateway race. But those are my thoughts on Gateway. What do you think of this race? Let me know in the comments below. Of course, for more NASCAR news, make sure to visit TobyChristieCom. And for more creative content, make sure to go to AboveTheYellowLine.com and check us out on all of our social media pages on our websites or linked in the description below. Make sure to join us live at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on our social media platforms to talk about all the latest NASCAR news. And plus, we will have some guests on the show this week, so make sure to tune in and follow our social media pages to know who those guests are and when we go live. Turn on those notifications bells as well. But everyone, thank you so much for supporting us here at Above the Yellow Line and TobyChristie.com. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, share this with your friends and family. Thanks all so much for the support, and until next time, I'll see ya. Bye.